Today we're talking about the 5 myths about anger and conflict. Starting with myth number 1. The presence of conflict is a sign of a lack of character. Not true. Conflict in a relationship only tells me that there are important conversations that are going on in this relationship, and there happens to be a conflict when you're talking about something important and you disagree, or there's a clash, or you're at variance. You see things one way, the person sees things the other way. And when I say relationship, I'm not specifically talking about romantic relationships. This could be any relationship, work related. This could be someone in your neighborhood. It's someone from your church, synagogue, temple, or mosque, or some other house of worship. And you are finding yourself at odds with this individual. So what do? Well, you want to think about the relationship, how important the relationship is to you. And maybe the relationship itself isn't that important to you, but what it brings, for example, think of a neighbor, getting along with a neighbor. You might not really care for so-and-so across the street, or in the apartment above you, but having peace where you live is important to you. So you want to think about how you're going to handle this conflict. So the myth number 1 is talking about you as a person. Because you have conflict in your life, that shows that you don't have very good character. And that's not true. You have some things that you have to work out. Myth number 2. Conflict is a sign of low concern for the relationship. What's the alternative? Being a phony baloney and acting inauthentically and not in a genuine manner. So you're just pretending everything's all right, and you don't feel good about yourself. And if the other person is really tuned in, that person's going to know that you're not being genuine, and he or she may have won that particular argument. They got over on you. Those individuals won because you are now placating, telling them whatever they want to hear. You're compromising. That's win-lose. You're losing, they're winning. And then, or you're withdrawing altogether and, raise the white flag, like, okay, I surrender. So it's always a win-lose situation there. You want to have a collaboration where people can win. And then there's also the domineering, where you dominate over another person, or the other person dominates over you. And that's also win-lose. So the only way to win is to collaborate. And how do you collaborate? Well, you get curious. Myth number 3. Anger is negative and destructive. Not necessarily. I want you to think about some individuals who have lived very great lives, but did express anger. And the first one I'm thinking of is Mother Teresa. And she expressed her anger quite a bit. I remember one documentary that I watched where they had some very expensive water at the table, bottles of water. And she held up the bottles of water and said, for the amount of money that you're spending on this silly bottle of water, when I could just, drink tap water, I could have fed X amount of people. And so she was expressing her anger, but it wasn't negative and it wasn't destructive. In fact, it probably was very constructive, because she's telling you loudly and clearly, if you want to have an interview and you want me to be on television and to take that interview with you, then this is how we need to operate. Martin Luther King Jr. expressed anger in a very constructive and positive way. And then Gandhi, who was able to liberate India, also was very peaceful. And the way he approached his anger at what he felt was injustice. And his approach was very constructive. Myth number 4. conflict, if left alone, will take care of itself. You know what? Every once in a while, that is exactly what has happened in my life, but it has been so infrequent that I thought that they were miracles that happened when I've done absolutely nothing and the situation got better. Wow, that was amazing. Okay, so what am I saying? That most of the time, if you do nothing, the situation does what? You know the answer. It gets worse. So you have to figure out what to do and how to handle this as quickly as possible. So think about an argument that you may have had where you are now experiencing a hostility hangover. And I know you've heard me talk about that term in other videos. Well, you're experiencing a hostility hangover because you're not proud of your own behavior. You may have indulged in name calling or made harsh judgments about this person or his or her beliefs about something that you disagreed with. So now you're going to have to clean that up and handle it, because doing nothing is most likely only going to make the situation worse. It festers. So if you think about dirty dishes in the sink that you don't clean, and what happens, you know, you've got a science experiment in that sink. Things grow in there that you don't want growing in there. In the same way, that's what happens in your relationships if you don't handle this right. The last myth, myth number 5, conflict must be resolved. I wish I could teach you in a short video how to resolve all conflict in your life. And I would probably be a very, very wealthy woman and be working for the United States government. The 2 things that you can do to bust myth number 5, conflict must be resolved. No, you can walk away or you can agree to disagree. I hope you got a lot out of the 5 myths about anger and conflict. I would like to know more specifically, what conflicts are you dealing with and how are you dealing with your own anger? I'm doing a course on dealing with difficult people and it's coming out very soon. So I would love to get more material and answer your questions. In the comments below, let me know what videos you would like me to do or what topics you'd like me to cover in that specific area. And then the other thing is, if you found this video helpful, please click like and subscribe to my channel, and then share the video with those people who you think could benefit from this. Thanks so much for watching.